Good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh. June 6th, 2021, 22 years ago. 22 years ago to the day, I was in a hot Catholic church in Montreal. I think it's Saint Anne de Bellevue. Saint Anne de Bellevue. Saint Anne de Bellevue, Saint Anne de Beaupré. I get them mixed up all the time. It's Saint Anne de Bellevue, and it was June 6th, 1999. And I was ordained in a class of about, I think about 10 or 11 of us. And it was, wow, I tell you, it was an exciting weekend. It was at Montreal and Ottawa conference, and we met every year at John Abbott College back when we had conferences. And the weekend is kind of fun, because you're feeling a little bit like a celebrity, you're the new ordinands, and you have to give a little speech, and they got to vote on you. They got to vote on you right then and there on the floor of conference, whether or not they're going to ordain you or commission you. I'm not sure if you were doing lay ministries to say anyway, but anyway, they had to vote on you. That was interesting enough. Of course, by then it ought to be a foregone conclusion if everybody had done their jobs, because if you go through all the hoops and then they don't vote to ordain you on that weekend, well, somebody's going to get fired or should be. Then again, it's the church, so probably not. So that was the thing. It was an exciting weekend, and you start off and you're like all doe-eyed and you're all like full of wonder and excitement about this new ministry that's about to happen. People warned you about all sorts of things, but by and large, it's a big celebration. And you know what? 22 years later, it still is. I still got the same kind of wide-eyed wonder to the whole thing. I'm always amazed at this job and what comes along with it. Some great things that have just been wonderful and continue to be wonderful. I think number one is just the privilege, the absolute privilege and honor, and just feeling of richness and fullness of being with people in the best days of their lives, like some of the best days of their lives, baptisms, weddings, celebrations of birthdays, anniversaries, special things like that. And also, and maybe even a little bit more, some of the worst days of their lives, worst times in their lives. That it's just amazing. It's rich. It's amazing. Things I don't like about the job is sometimes I think if my nerves are going to get a little bit raw, or if I'm having one of those weeks where a lot of my buttons are being pushed by heavy stuff, my experience of certain things as being kind of petty, they bother me, and that's something I've continued to have to work on in 22 years, because I know that everybody's feelings are important and valid. And if somebody's really upset about something that I don't really find all that upsetting, then I think part of ministry is intentionally putting yourself in their shoes and trying to understand what it is about that thing that is upsetting or important to them, and walking with them in that. Now, that is something that is a challenge, probably the biggest challenge some weeks is that. Anyway, I'm not going to say any more about that, because this is all about that, the good things. So that's today, 22 years ago today, in Saint Anne de Bellevue, a Catholic church, ordained in our church ministry. Catholic church because it was the only church around that was big enough to hold us all. Imagine having that problem. So that's the beginning of this little video. But what a heavy week. I'll show you the little picture. Here's what they used to do. I don't know if they do this anymore. Oh, what? I gotta try to share. I get this all set up ahead of time, and then I'm like, it doesn't work. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, there's my ordination certificate. I wonder who did the calligraphy. I never really asked that. There's the moderator, William Phipps. He was the moderator at the time. You can see his signature nicely. You can see Virginia Coleman, Ginny Coleman, as they called her. She was the general secretary of the United Church of Canada back then. And whatever brand of pen that he had, the president of conference and the secretary of conference used, never buy that brand of pen. I don't even know what it is, but if I find out, don't buy it, because after 22 years, it fades. It's gone. So don't use that. I don't know if they. I haven't seen a modern ordination certificate. Maybe some of you. Is it sharing? I don't know if it's sharing. Did it ever share? Oh, here we go. Now it's sharing. Something they didn't teach us, how to share Zoom screen in theological college in the 1990s. Stuff wasn't even imagined back then. So there's And I don't even know if my audio is on. But anyway, here's the ordination certificate. And as I was saying, beautiful calligraphy. I don't know who did it. I'd like to find out. Hopefully they're still with us, because then I can find them on Facebook and say a little note and say I was admiring your work. And there's this, and then there's ones you can't see. So that's ordination certificate. Jeepers. What a thing. Now, it has been a week though. It's been a week. It's been a lot. It's been busy, very, very busy, busier than normal, because we wanted to record not one, not two, not three, but we wanted to record 4 services worth of lay readers and music this week. Usually we do 1. If we're pushing it, we do 2. But we did 4. And there was a reason for that. And the reason was because, and this is cat's out of the bag, emails have been sent, choir's been told, congregation is being told, I guess, rather ham-fistedly now through this. But lots of people know, and it's been floating around for the last few days. Emails, like I said, emails have been sent, permission's been given to talk about it, to share to our friends, and you're our friends. Yeah. So anyway, our music director, Paul McMillan, is resigning after 25 years of work in ministry at Rothwell. Now you know it's 25 years because it's just the beginning of May. We celebrated his 25th anniversary, and he dropped a little hint during it. If you watch the video, so he said 25 years at Mackay, 25 years at Rothwell. So you know the end of the story of that. And he kind of looked at us like, and then he got a diagnosis of cancer and in his kidney, and he took some time to think about it. We had some conversations about it, and at the end of the day, he decided to resign. In his letter, he was saying because it's uncertain what the prognosis is and what's to come for him. And of course, that means something to us first and foremost, because we love him and he loves us, and we have this relationship that's important, and care about him and want him to get the help he needs, and we love him. Just wish this wasn't happening to him, and so we want to be with him on that journey. At the same time, there's the ministry and the work of the church. What do we do in the fall if and when we come back to some kind of in-person worship, and what's worship going to look like? And there is a question, like, is he going to be able to do it? So in terms of us planning ahead about how we're going to cover off either videos or live worship or videos of live worship, we're going to need a few months to kind of get some stuff in place so that we can have a little bit of certainty amongst the sea of uncertainness that we're all facing. And look at the expression on his face. He's looking at me like, you're just talking too much. So anyway, he's resigned. He didn't say retire, which I think is kind of nice. He's not. That indicates that he doesn't feel like he's ready to be put on an ice flow. But he's decided to resign, and I'm really sad about that. But at the same time, I understand why, and understand why it's good for him. Understand why it's appropriate for us, and so we're going to figure out a way to go forward. And the good thing is that with my involvement in the wider church, which has been accelerated by the pandemic because of this whole Zoom business, like we're and all the online stuff we've been doing, I've got to meet a lot more people than I ordinarily would have been able to meet. How ironic is that? All from this dining room table for the most part. And there are a lot of really good musicians out there in United Church and Ottawa land, people who have a passion and a joy and a spark for sacred music that are just looking for a place to happen. And if we have to lose our friend, there is some joy and benefit to be had to pick someone up or to maybe walk with someone or somebody's, maybe folks who have a real passion for this. Oh, I do. Like I feel, I've been doing this for 22 years, and I honestly, I'm as excited about it as I am now as I was when I started. Maybe even more so, because I have my eyes open a little bit better. I know I made a decision 3 or 4 years ago, and I was just like, there was the divorce, and there was all this newness in my life and transition, and I wasn't healthy physically at all, and I was just. And I decided, I was like, okay, God, what is it? Like, am I going to get busy living or get busy dying? And I think the same goes for the church. Am I going to get busy helping this church live or get busy ensuring it dies? And I chose life. And so I continue that choice every week when I make these little videos and when we do our stuff. So anyway, back then I said, look, every Sunday I want it to be important. I want this Sunday to be the most important Sunday. And if this is the last Sunday I preach or the last Sunday I do something, I want to feel like I've left it all out on the field. And so that's it. Like I decided that years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And I think I feel pretty good about it. Like I feel like we've done some really cool things. We've made worship different every week. We've done, I shouldn't say every week, but we've preserved those comfort touchstones, which we have to. We have to. Because they're important for you and they're important for me too. We've preserved that, but we've also embarked on different kinds of experiments, some of which have been great, some of which have been not so great. But and so anyway, that's where we're at. I'm just gonna miss my friend. I told him I'm gonna miss every Tuesday or Wednesday getting together and talking, sometimes for hours. And I got to say, he was really there for me in all sorts of ways when my life was going sideways back in 2013, 2012, 2014. Just a real touchstone, just a real foundational, important relationship. I've never had a coworker I've worked with as long as I've worked with Paul, 14 years. And same goes for me and him. I think Joe Burke and he were together for 14 years too. So we're tied. So anyway, I'm going to miss him. You are going to miss him. And it just feels like another injury of COVID that we can't celebrate. And him, we tried with the 25th anniversary. I think we succeeded to a certain degree as far as the medium would allow us. But a proper goodbye, I don't know what that looks like in the age of COVID. And I don't know what kind of clock we're up against, but I do know that we're planning on something with the choir at least when step 2 rolls around. So when we get to step 2, we can have up to 25 people gather outdoors. And so that's the hope that we can do at least that. And like I said, I don't know what kind of clock is ticking. Neither does he. Could very well be he's going to just carry on for years because it would be just like him. So that's what happened. That's the announcement. And it's 10:31 and it's time for church. And I hope that you will join us on Zoom afterwards so that we can talk about this and talk about other things, including our 96th anniversary in our Church of Canada. Forget about that. Oh, how important am I that I talk about my anniversary of ordination while ignoring the anniversary of our Church of Canada? Boy, the ego on this guy. So there's that. And we're also talking a little bit about residential schools because you have to. So